There's this new wave of storytellers popping up on platforms like YouTube, and they're using AI to bring these incredible African folktales, some ancient, some brand new, to life. They're creating these visually stunning animations that are just pulling in millions of viewers. But the most powerful thing about these stories isn't really the tech, it's the raw human emotion, right at the center of it all.
I mean, just listen to this line. It's from a mother to her young daughter, Ruth. It is brutal. It's absolutely heartbreaking, and it's that kind of gut-punch dialogue that just grabs you and pulls you right into the story.
And that right there, that raw emotion, it's really at the heart of this whole viral trend, where timeless storytelling is meeting some seriously cutting-edge technology. And together, they're creating this powerful new way to share and preserve culture.
So here's what we're going to unpack today. First, we'll look at the powerful stories themselves. Then we're going to peek behind the curtain at how the AI magic actually happens and, when it doesn't. We'll explore how this tech is creating a whole new kind of storyteller, and finally, we'll get into why this trend is so much more than just a viral moment.
Okay, let's dive right in by looking at the stories themselves. What is it about them that's making them so compelling?
Well, they really tap into these universal themes that we can all connect with, right? You've got the ultimate underdog story with Ruth, who goes from being despised to becoming a tech CEO. Then there's the cautionary tale of Mama Kiko, whose pride just leads her straight to ruin. Of course, we see classic virtue being rewarded when the kind stepdaughter, Amina, captures the prince's heart. And they're even tackling really complex modern themes, like Salome finding a love that goes beyond physical intimacy. They're basically classic folktales, just rebooted for a whole new generation.
So how in the world are these incredibly detailed stories being made, a lot of the time by just one person? Let's break down the tech that's powering these new digital campfires.
The very first thing the creators in this space will tell you is that story is king. They all stress that you have to write your narrative by hand. So why is that? Well, because AI-generated plots can feel super generic, kind of unnatural. To really make something that stands out, that human element, that unique voice, it just has to come first.
Now, technically speaking, these creators are making a really specific choice. Most of them are actually avoiding those direct text-to-video models, because it's just incredibly hard to keep a character looking the same from one shot to the next. So instead, they prefer what's called an image-to-video workflow. They generate these really detailed still images first, where they have way more control, and then they use AI to animate those static pictures. It's a pretty crucial step if you want to tell a coherent story.
So the whole process ends up looking something like this. It all kicks off with that manual script. Then, a tool like ChatGPT can help break it down into scenes and even write the image prompts. Next, free tools like image effects are used to create the visuals, which are then animated with other AI tools. And the final step is just pulling it all into a video editor to add the voiceover and sound design. This is a huge shift. It basically turns solo creators into their own mini animation studios.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty smooth, right? But anyone who's actually used these tools knows they are far from perfect. And this is where we start to meet the ghosts in the machine.
So, is the process perfect? Oh, not even close. In fact, creators are constantly running into frustrations trying to get the AI to just cooperate.
As the creator Africa Amaze puts it, sometimes the results are just plain weird. The AI can misunderstand prompts in some really bizarre ways.
For instance, one creator was talking about trying to animate a character leaping to catch a deer, but no matter how they wrote the prompt, the AI kept making the character just hang in midair, totally defying gravity. It's these kinds of weird quirks that mean you have to do tons and tons of trial and error.
And all that trial and error, well, it costs credits on these platforms. So to get around this, some creators who are just getting their start have turned to something they call credit hacking, which is basically just creating new email addresses over and over to get more free trials.
Yeah, what's really interesting is that even the creators who mention this are quick to admit it's a huge ethical gray area. They don't see it as some long-term strategy, but more of a temporary workaround for beginners to just test the waters before they invest any real money. It forces them to weigh what's practical against their own principles.
So let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. Because this trend isn't just about cool tech. It's really the modern evolution of a very deep and very rich cultural tradition.
And this evolution is just fascinating. In many West African cultures, you have the Griot, the traditional keeper of stories, of history, of music. They're like the living archives for their communities. Well, today's AI storytellers are kind of becoming their digital counterparts. Yeah, they're using new tools, but their function is strikingly similar. They're preserving and reinventing cultural stories for a new global online community.
So what does this all add up to? Let's take a look at why this trend is just so incredibly significant for culture, for creativity, and for community.
Look, this is about so much more than just entertainment. It is a powerful way to preserve culture, digitizing oral histories for generations to come. It's also this massive democratization of storytelling. You don't need a Pixar-sized budget anymore. You just need a good story. It gives these narratives an incredible global reach, introducing them to a worldwide audience. And, maybe most importantly, it creates real economic opportunities, letting creators build a career by sharing their own heritage.
It all leaves us with this one fascinating question for the future. As these tools get more and more sophisticated, we're really being forced to rethink our basic ideas about art and ownership. So when a human writes the script, but an AI generates the visuals, the voice, and the motion, who really is the author?